Let's talk Premier League, and we start with the league leaders Arsenal, who've been coming under increased criticism for their use of set pieces this season. Mikel Arteta has been speaking to the media this afternoon, and Gail Davis was there for us, listening to him and putting him under the spotlight. Nice to see you, Gail. What's Arteta made of all this talk about his set pieces this season?
Very good afternoon, Pete. I tell you what, leaving the Emirates on Sunday, I'm not sure there were too many Arsenal fans that really cared how those goals had gone in. It was such a tight, nervy game that Arsenal simply had to win. And they did so with 2 corners. And he was asked today, because a lot of the managers have had their say, including you'll hear in the way that Arsenal go about their business from Fabian Havertzista a little bit later, about the fact that it's ruining the so-called beautiful game. They have scored 16 in all. But I put it to him, wouldn't every Premier League manager want to be top of that league table when it comes to Arsenal? After all, you know, it's got them to where they are, and this is what he had to say. You sit top of that kind of corners league with 16. Do you think actually every Premier League manager would like to be where you are and have had the ability to have a weapon like that?
I'm upset that we don't score more and that we concede as well. So we want to be the best and the most dominant team in every aspect of the game, and that's the trajectory and the aim of this team. And as a club, we want to be the same. So try to do that.
Does it surprise you that you're doing something so well and yet somehow you're still getting criticised for it?
Part of the job.
No, it was a tight win, wasn't it, against Chelsea last time? As you said, set pieces were the talking point again. But did Mikel Arteta today talk about how Arsenal might manage potential nerves in the crowd for the rest of the season?
You know what, Pete? It was emotionally exhausting for anybody in the Emirates, and I'm a neutral in this title race. You know, those moments, particularly when it went to 1-1, and even when Arsenal had gone back ahead and Chelsea were down to 10 men, Arsenal could barely string passes together. He was asked about it after the game on Sunday, and actually Jurrien Timber spoke about having to deal with this anxiousness, and to do that, they are going to have to just be a little bit more street smart when it comes to seeing out these close games, because it very nearly cost them, didn't it? That David Raya save in the last few minutes from Garnacho, where even Arteta said his heart stopped for a moment. They really need to kind of take control a little bit better, and that comes from a variety of things, and this is sort of what he's spoken to the players about, how to manage out those last few minutes.
I think when you have the ball, you need to be able to make those decisions. If I'm shouting to the players when they have the ball, pass to him, you are not making decisions. You're just being told what to do, and what you see maybe and what you feel is very different. I mean, if we've done 3 transitions and my heart rate is 180, the game is requiring to slow down and to control the game and to dominate it. If there's an opportunity to run because I'm fresh after a set piece that I had a minute to rest, that's a different opportunity to run. So it's a lot of factors, and the players have to make those decisions. I mean, the crowd normally shoots in this country. Shoot from 40 yards as well. We can shoot all the time. Why are you doing shooting from there? So I think we'll have a split stadium. So it's natural that they are pushing, but we need to understand as well that at certain moments we have to take our time to start attacks in the right way.
So what of the all-important team news for all the fantasy football players in particular out there? It looks like Martin Odegaard is set to miss this game. He's got a slight knee problem, so he is out. Better news in terms of David Raya. There was concern over him at the end of the game, and Declan Rice, who asked to come off, he's feeling a bit better today. No Ben White, but Max Dowman, who played for the under-21s last Friday, who's had this ankle problem since December, could be back as well. And it is Brighton, and then of course Macclesfield, and then they go again. It might be a chance to just freshen things up a little bit in this team before the really, really important part of this season. It is now, isn't it? 9 games to go, 5 points in it. Who knows what we'll be saying come Wednesday evening, but you can be sure that Arteta has talked about getting in this boat and enjoying the ride. I think it might just be a little bit rocky for a few more weeks yet.
Gail, thank you very much indeed. Well, speaking ahead of Arteta's news conference, the Brighton boss, Fabian Havertzista, accused Arsenal of spending too long on their set pieces when they're leading matches. Brighton, of course, as we know, host Arsenal tomorrow night. And Havertzista has urged his side to, quote, play a bit dirty against the league leaders. Arsenal lead the Premier League for time taken to restart in corner situations this season, averaging almost 45 seconds per corner kick. However, Brighton, there they are, they're fifth on that list. Havertzista wants the rules surrounding set pieces to be amended.
For me, the main topic is make a clear rule how much time you can waste for a corner, for a throw-in, for a free kick, because I think no one recognizes it, but when Arsenal has a corner and they are leading, sometimes they spend over 1 minute just to take a corner, and therefore I think we just have to make like clear rules, because then in the end we have a netto game time of 50 minutes instead of sometimes 65 minutes. So I have the opinion that every supporter who pays a lot of money to going into stadiums and watching our games should see the same netto game time, because they pay a lot of money. They want to see a football event. We want to fight, we want to work hard, we want to win personal duels, we want to be maybe also a little bit dirty in the duels, and I think that that's important, because we want to bring energy to our crowd. We want to bring like the supporters immediately behind us, and we don't want to play with fear, we don't want to play with too much respect. We want to stick to our principles and try to get all the supporters, the whole stadium behind us, and then we try to go for it.
Oh, it's a hot topic. I mean, I was just watching that and I'm just a bit like, that's bonkers what we're witnessing there. Players being kind of thrown around. But do you feel it's a little bit out of control, set pieces, in particular corners at the moment?
No, what I would say is out of control is poor refereeing.
Right.
Simple as that. The idea of a set piece, free kick, corner, if you're in open play, you want your winger, your fullback, to have time and space on the ball, to be able to deliver the ball to where he wants. More space, more time, more options that you've got. That's just a set piece. That's a corner, whatever it might be. You then have to have the ability to deliver it into that area with quality. Arsenal do that very, very well. A lot of other teams do that very well. How about just defend and head it, first and foremost? This is not a new thing. You know, when I played, set pieces were a huge part of the game. You know, we had Ian Hart, incredible set piece taker. No one would complain then about that. No one complained about the physicality. I think what we don't like now is what you've just seen, where people are being thrown to the floor and it gets a little bit silly and a little bit daft. No one knows the rules. What you will always have, and Mikel Arteta's right, people adapt, people evolve, but it's risk and reward. Now, if I'm trying to attack Dave, if I give away a foul, it won't matter. It's irrelevant. So I can push him and I can pull him, and if the referee sees it and I give away a foul, it's not the end of the world. If Dave does it to me, gives away a penalty, you've got problems. So there's always going to be that unfairness within the box. So it's always trying to get an advantage over your opponent. But I would just say, just defend better. If you are aggressive attacking the ball, you want to go and head the ball, as Arsenal do, in both boxes, and the delivery's good, you score a lot of goals. I go back, some of the kids watching won't have a clue I'm talking about. Steve Bruce was unbelievable from set pieces. 5'11", I think he scored 20 goals one season.
Wow. From
set pieces. John Terry scored more goals than any other defender, I think, in the Premier League. It's not a new thing that's happened. It's about people wanting to head the ball, be aggressive and go and win it. If you don't like it, get someone in that wants to head it and defend it. It's much easier to stop the ball going in the net than it is to put it in the net. That's a fact.
Yeah, I think that there's two separate issues here that people are kind of putting together, and maybe is it right to put them together? So the first is the grappling.
Yeah.
Is that too much? And the second is, do we think set pieces are dominating the game too much? And is that what we want for the next 5-10 years? If that is the dominating play, if you like, Pep Guardiola, possession-based football has been the dominating force over the last decade. Is set pieces the new dominating force?
Nobody likes to watch it. It's a little bit.
Well, it depends. The guy next to you or the woman next to you at 3 o'clock might love set pieces and therefore love it.
What's more exciting? A goalmouth melee or Manchester City keeping it for 700 passes and not having a shot at goal?
Well, if they have a shot at goal at the end of it, I think that's
really but what do you want? So Martin O'Neill was unbelievable and obviously this came from the late Brian Clough, football only matters in the 18-yard boxes. What happens in between is irrelevant, because generally you score inside the 18-yard box. If you defend that one well and you attack in that one well, you win the football match.
But equally, I like what goes on in the middle of the park because it gets up
but it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because football's about winning.
Yeah.
No one cares how you win. And this is not about kids' football or grassroots or anything else. This is about Premier League, Champions League, World Cups, whatever it is. Football's about winning. And if you want to win that way, why not? Chelsea won Premier Leagues off set pieces, I'm going to guess. The amount of goals that John Terry scored, Ivanovic, Drogba. No one complained then.
Can I take you back to the first thing you said, actually, because you were sort of saying the refereeing actually is at the back.
Referee's shocking.
So what does a referee need to do in that instance when he's witnessing things like that?
What I really don't like is we'll be grappling, the ball's not in play, so nothing can be given at that stage. The referee blows his whistle and says, walks over, says, right, you need to calm down, you need to stop doing that. And he warns people. Why are you warning people? Let players make their own minds up. Let them make their own decision. And then when the ball comes in, if you see somebody shirt pulling, or pushing excessively, give a penalty. I think it's a bit cowardly from referees to pre-warn people. They don't pre-warn people in every other part of the game. If someone's going to close somebody down, they're not shouting, slow down, don't dive in. That's for his teammates and his manager to worry about. Referee the game. Let the cross come in, let the ball come into the box, and if you see something untoward, give a foul, whichever way that may be. Stop interfering too soon. We all know the rules as players, but like I said, it's risk and reward. I'm going to push him, I'm going to try and get free. He's going to try and stop me doing that. And
Dave would never do that, by the way.
Well, he wouldn't, because he's such a nice guy. but that's you're trying to get an advantage over your opponent, no matter what that is. And I said it's risk and reward. The risk of giving away a free kick, and it's almost a goal kick, is immaterial, really, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But Dave giving away a penalty, he's got problems. So of course I'm going to use every advantage I can to win the game. Because professional football and professional sport is about winning. And that's all that matters.
The difference between when you were playing to now, if you were
you took an elbow.
That's it. At an attacking set piece, you could get away with more because the referee's only got one pair of eyes. Yeah. Now, there's a team at Stockley Park that's looking at this. So, do you think that VAR needs to get more involved in corners and set pieces? And even if the grappling is irrelevant to where the corner ends up, and where the ball ends up, the VAR needs to step in and go, no, that's a free kick.
So this is
even if it's not to do with where the ball ends up.
You're spot on. A foul is a foul, no matter what. The ball doesn't have to be within play for it to be a foul. If I just push you over, it's a foul. Simple as that. So you're right. Stockley Park can see everything. If players know that they're going to get pulled up for that. Defenders aren't going to do it. Forwards might, but then the risk is, if the ball comes in, you score a header, and I've pushed Dave, the goal's disallowed. So that's then on me. And my manager's going, what are you doing? You're nowhere near the ball, you're pushing somebody, you've now stopped us from scoring a goal. If referees refereed properly, it wouldn't be an issue. And they have, there'd be people lined up, you'd be getting blocked. The referee wouldn't see it. Someone would go bang. There'd be all sorts going on, and you just took it. Now you can't get away with that. So it annoys me that referees seem scared to make a decision. They don't want to make that bold, brave decision. Go, I've seen that. It's a foul. You're only going to have to do it 3 or 4 times at the start of the season, and then managers are going to go. If you're a defender or you're defending, and you give a penalty away for grabbing or grappling, you ain't playing the next game, or I'm fining you.
Do you think there should be a limit in terms of players allowed in 6-yard box? No?
No, not in the slightest.
No?
It's always about being inventive, about being clever. And I go back, so when Manchester United played Barcelona, 08-09 Champions League final, it was all about, Barcelona play tiki-taka and keep the ball. But Man United have great set pieces, and Mascherano, I think, 5'6", was playing centre half. They won't be able to deal with it. Pep went, that's fine, we just won't give away your corners. We'll just keep the ball. I think Man United made 1 or 2 corners in that game. Deal with it that way.
Yeah.
Be better at other stuff. Find a different way to win. Sam Allardyce at Bolton, when the offside rule was tweaked and changed, and I think it was Kevin Nolan when it stood in front of the goalkeeper and went, I'm not interfering with play. It caused mayhem.
Yeah.
It's just being clever. It's just thinking a little bit different to everybody else. Pep putting inverted fullbacks in, overloading the midfield, was different, was good thinking. People then adapt to that and they change. So the game, everyone's always trying to find, how can I beat the opposition? If you just want to see football where it's a team versus another team, let them just play, the best team's always going to win. And that's boring football. We have cup upsets, we have top beating bottom, because teams play in different ways and cause different teams problems. There is no right or wrong way to win a football match. And this is why I always go back to people. People go about entertainment. No, professional sport is about winning. That's all that matters. You ask any person, any player, any person that's ever won anything, they're not bothered how they win. It's about winning. End of.
But us watching want to be entertained. I'm going to stick with that because I do like an entertaining game of football, like Brentford Burnley at the weekend. Awesome game of football. I want to go back to kind of who's doing it the best and who's flooding the 6-yard box. Because, I mean, Kobe Mainoo had this brilliant Instagram kind of likening Everton's ability in the 6-yard box as kind of like the Royal Rumble, and it is quite funny. But it's who's doing it well then and who's doing it perhaps not so well?
Well, Arsenal take a lot of the focus on packing the 6-yard area because they have a lot of success from corners.
Yeah.
Basically, everybody is doing it. We can have a look at the teams who pack the 6-yard box the most. And essentially, Spurs are top of the list for most, or on average anyway, the most players within the 6-yard box, with 5.1 on average at attacking corners. And then Bournemouth the next, then come Arsenal. Manchester United, Michael Carrick said they need to do something about it, but they also use the tactic of packing the 6-yard box. Burnley, Newcastle, Everton there. Now this data only takes the point when the ball is kicked of how many players are in the 6-yard box. So, that doesn't account for players rushing in on top of the goalkeeper, which is what we saw Arsenal do against Chelsea at the weekend.
Leave 3 players up the pitch.
Well, Chelsea did do that, didn't they? They've done it on a couple of occasions.
It's cat and mouse. So if you leave two wingers on the halfway line, a centre forward, what's the opposition going to do? Because if the goalkeeper catches it, he's going to throw it to 3 unmarked players. So be brave. Do something different. Find a different way to combat that.
So Chelsea had done that on a couple of occasions this season, and Liam Rossini was asked at the weekend actually why he didn't do it this time around. And he said that he's taken more responsibility for defensive corners now over the set-piece coach, Bernardo Cueva. He wants to have more accountability for that. And his reasoning was why they didn't do it was because he felt that in the games that they did, Arsenal created 2 good opportunities to score goals, and he was worried about that. What that defensive...
that's because their defenders can't head the ball properly.
Well, what that defensive idea did for Chelsea was it caused a moment of confusion for Arsenal, whether they had players going in, whether they had players removing themselves from the penalty area to track those Chelsea players. I think from Chelsea's perspective now, their thoughts are, well, Arsenal would have prepped for that, and it's a game of cat and mouse, risk and reward. Do we risk taking players out and Arsenal call our bluff and leave players in, and they cause all kinds of chaos for the goalkeeper? But to pick up on Danny's point and better defending, we have seen an arms race for attacking corners, how to extract the maximum from attacking corners. What we haven't seen yet is the counteracting of that by defensive sides and sides getting better at defending corners, and an arms race on the other side, how to defend them better.
That's because the art of defending's gone out the window. In the last 15 years, and you put Rio, Vidic, Terry in that last era of what I call proper defenders, the art of defending has disappeared. People don't want to go and attack the ball. They don't want to defend. They don't want to put their body on the line.
It's a brave decision to go up, isn't it? In the Brad Friedel was on last week, and he actually said it's all about being brave, and it's who's bravest.
In training, you would often say, right, let's work on set pieces. Yeah. You'd put 3 defenders across the edge of the 6-yard box, You'd put 2 just outside that, another 2 yards. You'd have 5 players in the danger area, maybe 1 player on the back post. That's only 6, plus the goalkeeper, 7. I would say you can put probably 8 players in and around that and throw set pieces in all day. You might score 1 out of 50. Because if I've got 5 good defenders that are going to head the ball, you ain't getting anywhere near it. Because you're not scoring from 15 yards out with a header. So defending's not... I worked under Howard Wilkinson, best defensive set-piece coach ever. Worked under McLaren and Steve Harrison at Middlesbrough.
Why was he so good? What made him
Because
so
he was
good?
organised. And he used to film video. He used to video the sessions on the training ground and make us watch it over and over again. It was the most boring thing on the planet. But we never conceded from a set-piece. Steve McLaren and Steve Harrison especially, who was the defensive coach at Middlesbrough, was exactly the same. We also had very good defenders. Myself, Frank Quadreau, Gareth Southgate, sadly late Hugo Etiog, George Boateng, Mark Schwarzer in goal. Those 5 players around the 6-yard box, there's not many people getting a header. Certainly not a free header to score a goal, because we were determined not to let that happen. It's not difficult. Just coach your defenders to be better and get them to go and attack the ball.
All right. Let's get to Arsenal's trip to Brighton tomorrow, because their boss, Fabian Havertz, has had his say on this matter as well. Havertz says too much time is being taken out of the game by set pieces and claims that Arsenal take too long taking corners in games when they're leading.
For me, the main topic is make a clear rule how much time you can waste for a corner, for a throw-in, for a free kick, because I think no one recognizes it, but when Arsenal has a corner and they are leading, sometimes they spend over 1 minute just to take a corner, and therefore I think we just have to make clear rules, because then in the end we have a netto game time of 50 minutes instead of sometimes 65 minutes. So I have the opinion that every supporter who pays a lot of money to going into stadiums and watching our games should see the same netto game time, because they pay a lot of money. They want to see a football event. We want to fight, we want to work hard, we want to win personal duels, we want to be maybe also a little bit dirty in the duels, and I think that's important, because we want to bring energy to our crowd. We want to bring the supporters immediately behind us, and we don't want to play with fear, we don't want to play with too much respect. We want to stick to our principles and try to get all the supporters, the whole stadium behind us, and then we try to go for it.
Danny, it's interesting listening there from Havertz. Do you think he's right to have a go at Arsenal about this?
No, because everybody would do it. It's the same thing. It's like, it's not in my backyard. It's like, but if you were winning a game and you needed to see the game out, you slow the game down, players go down injured, you kick the ball out of play. All right, multi-ball's a bit different now, but the ball boys would maybe hold on to it a little bit longer than what I was. Even in this day and age, I've seen, instead of kicking the ball into the stand, I've seen players smash the ball against the hoardings so it rebounds back onto the pitch. Therefore, multi-ball becomes useless for that few seconds, so your players can get back. Whatever rules, laws you find in football, players and coaches will find a way around it. They aren't always the brightest academically, but you give them football laws, they will find a way to circumvent it.
Shall we have a look then at who takes the longest? I mean, we like to fact check, don't we?
We do.
To be fair to Fabian Havertz, he's pretty spot on. I feel a bit sorry for Burnley, because they are actually top, but they've only had 4 corners this season when they've been in front, and their average time taken to restart is 54.1 seconds. Then it's Arsenal, obviously 61 corners they have had, and it's taken them 45.2 seconds on average when in front to take that
Can I just ask a caveat? Does Declan Rice take all the corners?
No.
Because sometimes you get a corner take goes from one side to the other.
Yeah, so
or you get a long throw goes from one
Saka.
side. So that can all, again, that can extend the time as well, which again all clubs do.
Yeah, usually Rice or Saka are the corner takers for Arsenal.
Interesting though that he wasn't far wrong though, Fabian Havertz.